Did I get this really wrong? I, 35 female, think I may have just got this really wrong and broke up our friendship, and I don't know how to make it better. Last year, my best friend's husband needed a kidney transplant. My best friend was going to donate, but at the last minute was rejected due to medical reasons. They asked me to donate. At that point, I was a single parent of 3 children, all little. I was in a very new relationship, so couldn't rely on anyone to look after the kids while I was laid up. I did really give it some thought. I spoke to my new partner about it. I considered the children and my life circumstances. It got really pressured while I was making my decision, her asking what my decision was, details of pros and cons, word-for-word conversations with my partner, literally begging. The pressure also got too much for me, and I realized I couldn't manage that pressure for the months while the test would be ongoing and the invasion of my life and privacy. I let her down. 17 years of friendship, and she hasn't talked to me since I said no. I didn't save his life and was selfish in my decision. Am I the idiot for leaving him ill? Her husband was given a kidney and is back to good health. I'm at a loss. Absolutely not the idiot. She has literally no reason in the slightest to be mad at you. You had young children depending on you. You wouldn't have had proper recovery time as a result, which could have caused complications. You didn't have enough support to ensure your child's safety, and you would have been losing money by not working. People cannot pressure you to literally go through a major surgery to give your organ to someone, especially when you consider all the possible lifelong side effects for you. What would have happened if you gave that kidney and then your remaining kidney failed? Who would look after your family? You are not in the right place to help. That is not your fault. Your friend had absolutely no right to be pressuring you. You had very, very valid reasons as to not doing it. I'm absolutely disgusted by her behavior. It's not good. I understand the pain and pressure she was under better than anyone, but she had absolutely no right to behave the way she has and is. You did absolutely nothing wrong. You'll probably find a tiny bit of the reason she isn't talking to you is guilt for her behavior. PSA: if anyone else finds themselves in a similar situation, you're able to meet with the doctors about getting tested and tell them that you are not comfortable donating. They will report that you are not a match. They are required by law to ensure that donors are not being coerced, and they are empowered to keep the reason you're not a match confidential. Not the idiot. You're a parent. Your kids get dibs on your kidneys, period. What happens if you give this adult a kidney, then one of your kids needs one later? No, Mom, you did absolutely zero wrong. In fact, you were doing everything right. I feel for your friend that needs the kidney, but she has zero right to expect anything from you and totally and completely crossed all lines and boundaries. You are not the idiot. Did she even know you were a match? She knew my blood group match, but that's all. I didn't start any of the testing. I spoke to the hospital about what would happen and my general practitioner about my own health, but didn't start the process. Not the idiot. I'm sorry, but your friend is not much of a friend. She does know that humans only have 2 kidneys. They will never regenerate, unlike a liver. You have 3 young children. Even if your spouse or close relative is the one who needs the transplant, doctors will never recommend that you be the donor. You will not be capable of taking care, carrying weights, bending down, exertions for anything from 2 months to a year, depending on the situation. Is she going to be taking care of her husband, you and all your children after the surgery? You will need lots of care after the surgery too. It is, after all, considered as a major surgery. Update. I didn't realize I'd cry so much reading your replies. Thank you so much. You've helped me realize. The first part is forgiving myself for my decision. I hadn't realized how much I'd been carrying this around for the last year. I need to learn to be okay with the decision I made and be at peace with it. Thank you. This happened last year. Because of actions my parents did when I was a kid, I do not allow my little daughter, Maisie, to play with makeup. When I was a kid, my parents messed up my self-confidence and self-worth by convincing me the only way I'd ever find love or success was if I was pretty. I was a little girl when my mom started perming my hair. A few years later, I was getting highlights. Soon she was having my brows waxed. Then she convinced me I needed a nose job or the boys would never like me. She was reminding me to wear lipstick and something pretty in case any boys saw me. For years, I defined my own worth based on whether or not I was pretty. It took years to repair that damage. I swore I'd never do that to my kids. Maisie's classmate Anna had her birthday party and Maisie was invited. The party was dance club themed, but there were also activity stations set up as well. Build your own cupcake, make your own crayons, make your own clay sculpture, finger painting, etc. And one of the stations was professional party makeup. Anna's parents had hired 3 professional stylists to give the girls fun makeovers and do things to their hair like temporary colour dye and clip-in extensions for curls and such. My Maisie, while enjoying toys and clothes from both sections of the store, is mostly a girly girl, and she's always been curious about makeup. She sees those kid-friendly sets at the store or is sometimes gifted them by relatives, and she wants to play with them, but I don't allow it. When Maisie is old enough, she and I will discuss makeup and how to use it properly, and when I believe she's mature enough to wear it and not let beauty define her, I will let her wear it. And once she's 18, she can do whatever she wants. The stylist required parental consent before doing anything, so Maisie came and asked me if she could have her makeup done and her hair fixed. I said no and explained why. Maisie took it well, and in a moment her favourite song came on and her friends took her away to dance, and eventually the matter was forgotten. Maisie enjoyed the party and we went home happy. But through the other parents, word got around that I refused to let Maisie get her makeup done, and now the other parents are calling me some crazy helicopter mom who is trying to control her kids. Apparently they think that it was an idiot move to make Maisie go without a makeover when most of the other girls, it was an all-girl party, had their makeup done. Now it's gotten back to my husband, and he says he agrees that Maisie doesn't need makeup every day, but surely I could let her wear it at the party and washed it off when the party ended. We didn't fight, but he told me that if he'd been there he would have thought I was being controlling too. Was I an idiot for not letting Maisie get her makeup done? Not the idiot, because it doesn't seem like your daughter cared. It probably wouldn't have hurt for her to get the makeover. Remember, you are not your mother, but ultimately it's your decision, and it sounds like you handled it fine. The other party moms needed to mind their own business, and your husband should have backed you up. You are the idiot. Stop projecting your childhood traumas onto your daughter and let her enjoy just being a kid. Your daughter is a typical girly girl who wants to play with makeup for fun and enjoyment, not because someone told her she has to, but because she wants to. That could have been a great bonding moment for the two of you. Mommy and me get fun hair and makeup done together type of situation that was instead ruined. This is a bit of everyone is wrong situation for me. You for not letting your daughter have a bit of fun with some makeup and styling, but also on the other parents for sticking their nose in your business where it doesn't belong. Your husband is right in this situation. You aren't forcing her to wear makeup, and it was something fun for a party. It was harmless, and sorry that it brought up bad memories for you, but you aren't raising your child that way it seems, so why shouldn't she get to indulge in a bit of fun at a birthday party? Update. I've gotten really good answers here and also a good dose of humility and bluntness. I realise now that I'm unhealthily projecting my own trauma on Maisie, and I have some work to do on myself. So I will be making a phone call to my therapist and getting back into that, and I've just placed an order on Amazon for a makeup set for little kids. When it gets here, Maisie and I, and Daddy, if he wants to join in, will spend an evening with the TV off, phones off, learning about makeup and also how beauty can make us feel powerful and confident. My husband's car doesn't work and he needs money to get it fixed. He doesn't have enough money. I'm in medical school and have been getting ready for my exams for a month now. Every month he and his friends go on a road trip. His car's been sitting in the garage for 3 months now. He asked if he could take my car to take the guys on a road trip since it was his turn to take them. I told him I need the car since I have a weak immune system and public transportation might be risky, and I can't afford to get sick in the middle of my exams. He begged, saying his friends are going to say he ruined the trip, and our discussion got nowhere. The trip was last week. I had an exam the day of the trip and left at 8 a.m. I had several things to do. I stopped by the coffee shop to use the internet. I arrived at the university at 8:30 and entered the hall getting ready for my exam. After I finished, I spent a few minutes with my friends and then I left. I got to the parking lot and my car wasn't there. I started freaking out, thinking I might have left the door open or something. I called my husband, but he didn't pick up. My friends immediately told me to call the police. I ended up waiting for them to ask me about what happened. The officer said I needed to come to the station to give my statement. I stayed there for 4 hours and then I was told my car was found. My husband was driving it and was picked up an hour away from where we lived. I was shocked and mad. It never occurred to me that he was the one who took it. I went home and waited till he got back. He was upset and didn't want to talk about what he did. The argument started after he said he made a copy of the key and didn't take it till he made sure I arrived for my exam. I yelled at him and told him it was not okay. He caused me to stress out and worry about the car. He told me calling the police was drastic and shouldn't have gotten them involved, but I had no idea he took the car. He said he wanted to text me but forgot. Said the trip was ruined and he was embarrassed by being picked up by the police while he was with his friends. He still thinks calling the police was over the top reaction, but what was I supposed to do? Not the idiot and dump him. He stole your car, let you worry, and can afford to go on a trip with his friends but not to fix his own car? You deserve better, hun. Go get it. Not the idiot. He copied your key and he stole your car right out of the parking lot. How were you to know the car thief was him? Meanwhile, he left you stranded in a global health crisis to party with his buddies. Calling the police was appropriate. So is leaving this selfish, irresponsible loser. You are not the idiot. He was wrong. He sounds like a child who didn't get what they wanted, so instead they snuck around their parents to get it instead. Of course, you would have called the police. He's an idiot for not thinking so. God, if he had been in your position, he would have done the same thing. He's only mad that he got caught. And from how he handled all this, he definitely cares more about his friends' opinions than the woman he's married to. Honestly, if I were you, I'd kick him out the house and look into getting divorced. He's likely to do something like this again, or maybe even worse next time. My brother, 18, is the star football player for our high school team. He was named one of Arizona's top high school football players. He's a senior and last summer got into his dream school on a football scholarship. All his life his dream was to play D1 football in college, and he achieved that, and I'm so proud of him and all he's achieved. However, this college is across the country. He is my parents' pride and joy, and in our house we eat, sleep and breathe football. My parents made so many sacrifices for him to play, including moving to another city, because our previous city's high school team wasn't as good as our current one. My parents have always put him first, and I, younger daughter, have just gotten used to it to a point. I accepted they will always care about his football more than they'll ever care about anything I do, and I'm not even mad because he's an incredible player and person who makes me proud to be his sister. My parents, however, forget I exist sometimes. They've only been to maybe a handful of my soccer games I've played since I was little, they claim because it always clashed with his football games, and I always got annoyed that they could never even miss one to come see me, including when I went to state. They even skipped my cousin's wedding because he had a game that day. I recently saw my mom looking at houses near his college. When I asked her why she was doing that, she said my father and her were going up there to look at houses because we were going to move up there with him. I got furious because they already decided this was happening and it was the first I was hearing of it. I told them they're forgetting they have another child and that I still have high school here and my soccer team is here, and she said, "That doesn't matter, you can play up in Massachusetts when we move," implying my sport doesn't matter as much as his. I said she needs to stop being so obsessed with my brother and learn how to parent better because she clearly doesn't give a crap about me. She called me ungrateful and said I should be happy for him. I stormed out and have been staying at a friend's since the fight. My brother called and texted me a few times asking me to come home or at least tell him I'm okay. I feel bad because he is the collateral damage in this between me and my parents, and it's not his fault, but I'm so sick of just letting it go and them forgetting about me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're absolutely justified in feeling sidelined, no pun intended, sorry. It's great that they're nurturing your brother, even if his football career may never go past college given the statistics on college to NFL numbers. But to completely disregard you in the meantime is wrong. Family counselling may help them understand just how one-sided they're being. I will say don't let anger and bitterness take over. Realistically, in this life, the things we do to fulfill ourselves are better in the long run than for the approval of others, even loved ones. Not the idiot. Does your brother even want them to move? If so, I wouldn't think his dream school would be on the opposite coast. That's what I was thinking. Doesn't sound like these parents are very aware it's negatively affecting both of their kids. Maybe the OP should talk to her brother about this so they could both talk to their parents. Might be more effective that way. Not the idiot. Looks like we have a serious case of golden child here. You were absolutely right. Your parents need to learn how to be parents. But seriously, moving for college? Are your parents changing jobs for this too? That's only a 4-year commitment. Are they going to move to follow him once he gets a job? What if he switches schools or drops out? Seems like a really dumb reason to completely uproot your family. I, male 30, was married for about 6 years before finalizing a divorce with my ex, female 32, a few years back. We share a son together who's 4 years old. When we split, we agreed that I would have him during the school year and she would get him in the summer. Earlier last year, she announced she was pregnant, and our son was thrilled. Meanwhile, me and my fiancé, male 28, have been looking to enlarge our family too. As my ex-wife progressed through her pregnancy, she claimed that dealing with our son and her new baby would be too much for her. She wanted to sign away her rights to our son. I didn't think it was the best thing to do because our son was old enough to be attached to his mother, but she insisted. So I legally have all rights to my son. My fiancé is planning on trying to adopt him once we get married. Luckily for us, a friend reached out and offered help. We agreed and we got the news a few months later that she was pregnant. Our pregnancy was about 3 months behind my ex-wife's. I do let her parents see my son frequently because they had no say in her signing away her rights. Of course, my son is excited to have a sibling from our side, so his grandparents told his daughter. Since then, it's been a nightmare. My ex-wife has non-stop harassed us about copying her. She accused us of having a baby out of spite. I've tried to not let it get to me. I've always wanted a big family, and I thought when I got divorced I lost my chance. Unfortunately, my ex-wife's pregnancy ended. I gave my condolences because the loss can be so upsetting. My sister reached out to her as well because they had been close while we were married. My daughter was born a few months after this happened, and we made one announcement on social media about it. My fiancé and I are pretty quiet people, and we don't like attention. We just wanted to let friends and family know that we had a healthy baby girl. My ex-wife, her parents, her boyfriend, and her extended side of the family have not stopped harassing my family about bragging about our child when my ex-wife was clearly in pain over losing hers. I'll be honest, my ex-wife's feelings were not considered when we announced the arrival. I was just overjoyed to have a new addition. So I'm here to ask your opinion. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your ex signed away her rights to her child. She's clearly trying to put her own child in the rearview mirror. Congrats on your baby, and honestly, I would straight up block her on social media. If you have a good relationship with the grandparents, then keep them around for the sake of your son. His mom already ditched him. At least he can have his maternal grandparents in his life growing up. Not the idiot. You're right, losing a child is terrible. But you can't stop your entire life for your ex-wife. Also, she gave up her rights to her oldest child. Her family seems to be forgetting that. I would restrict visits with them right now. Not to punish them, but to focus on the emotional needs of your own family. Congrats on the birth of your youngest.